Hey y'all, well if you've seen the title of this vlog, you'll know it's gonna be dorkier than usual. I'm not playing any shows today, although I'm playing enough tomorrow for both days. I'm doing 2 shows tomorrow. I'm playing at the Deroche Farmers Market, that's just east of Mission, and then driving with Leenie up to Whistler for the last real stop of the Graham Strang Leenie Bennett tour. But today I'm just hanging around the house. Not a ton to do, so I've been featuring my record collection in the last couple of vlogs, and I figured why not this time. So a little background here. Being a musician who's out and about a lot, performing and stuff, and being that I do this vlog and I tell people that I'm a sort of like rock and roll historian is what I'd like to be. And, a connoisseur of classic rock, people always say, well, who's your favorite band? And I change up the answer that I give, mainly because my first true love in terms of a rock band, I'm pretty ashamed to tell people about. I always, because I get made fun of a lot when I tell them the answer. They're like, you're not a real rock music fan. Because, don't know why, ever since I was 10 years old, my favorite rock band was Kiss. Yeah, they're very they care a lot about visuals, and they get a bad rep for not caring about the music as much. I disagree. I also love them for the shows. With them, it was all about the show. It was all about the energy. To see Kiss live was an event. So I'm trying to make it so... trying to create a career where seeing Graham Strang live is an event. I literally have taken a lot of pointers from them, and it sounds silly to cite Kiss as an influence, but I don't know. I love them. So today, I'm going to go through the fairly extensive, but still not complete, Kiss record collection that I've accumulated over the years of vinyl collecting. Kiss, by the way, is a band that has put out 20-something studio albums and a few live albums on top of that, and a number of compilations. So there's a lot to collect for, and I have, okay, so here's my record shelf. You see it's got 8 little sections. Half of this one section here is just Kiss albums. That's how much I have. And it's still not a complete collection. We're going to start with the first Kiss album, which is also, this one is the most recent one I've just acquired. I have 2 copies, technically 3, of the first Kiss album. This one is, I believe it's a 3rd Canadian pressing from 75. You can tell because the first pressing, this one's kind of falling apart. First pressing will be 9 songs long and will not have the song Kissin' Time on it. The second pressing, they added the song Kissin' Time, but it was still, the first 2 copies, if you have one of those, it'll say distributed by Warner Bros. Records. This one's distributed by Quality, which was a Canadian distribution label for a lot of the major labels in the States, but it is still on that original red and blue Casablanca label. That's always good to have, because that means it came out before 76 if you have a North American pressing on that blue Casablanca label. I also have this awesome 2014 reissue of the album. The 2014 Kiss remastered vinyl editions are incredible, both visually and in terms of the way they sound. And again, they've done their best to replicate that original Casablanca center ring label I was telling you about. Now, they released every single Kiss album in 2014, and they also put them out as a box set, and that box set was like $1,500, so ain't no way I'm ever buying that. Instead, I'm just gonna go and, I've been buying them individually off eBay one by one. I haven't gotten anywhere near all of them, though. Here's another one of those 2014 reissues. It's Kiss's second album, Harder Than Hell, also from 1974, and they've also done a good job of replicating that middle sleeve there. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure I have a first pressing of Dressed to Kill. I don't know. It's pretty beat up. It's Canadian. It's on Quality Records, but it's hard to see there, but it's got the embossed logo. The first pressings of this had the embossed logo, and I believe the later ones omitted that until they were reissued in 2014. Again, beautiful original inner sleeve. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention that I just found. The MCA Sound Conspiracy from 1970. Or 71, maybe. This is a list of, like, songs by artists that weren't selling particularly well for MCA at the time. They figured they'd put out this album dirt cheap to get people interested in these songs. Record labels used to do that a lot back in the 70s. One of these bands is Chelsea. Chelsea was Peter Criss's band before he joined Kiss. Back in 1970 or maybe 71, they put out an album which sold like no freaking copies, so MCA put them on this budget line thing, and it didn't help them out one bit. But it's a cool thing to have. They disbanded fairly shortly thereafter. Kiss Alive, my favorite live album of all time by anyone. This particular copy is particularly important to me because it was when my parents first bought me a record player like 12 years ago. This was on the top of the pile of the record albums they bought me. So this was the start of my fixation with vinyl. Was this exact copy of Kiss Alive, which has been pretty destroyed. The spine is held together with tape. It's a 1976 US reissue on that first generation Casablanca sleeve. And then I also have the 2008 Back to Black reissue. Remember I told you that the 2014 Kiss vinyl reissues are excellent? The 2008 Back to Black issuing of Kiss Alive is less excellent. Doesn't sound great. I give them credit for including the original stock Casablanca inner sleeve, but I give them absolutely no credit for mixing up which Casablanca label it's supposed to be on. This is the second generation. When this album first came out, it was on the first generation. Just me being a dork about what centering label they used. If they'd done their research at all, they could have known which one to do. I know Kiss fans at the time were a little bit like, really? Couldn't figure that out? Again, just being a dork, though. I have a couple of copies of Destroyer as well. Destroyer was their highest selling studio album of all time from 76. This is a late 70s, early 80s pressing that's completely falling apart. And then I also have Destroyer Resurrected that they put out sometime around 2012. This is a remixed version of the album. Bob Ezrin, who produced the original album, went back into the studio a few years ago and went back to the original tapes and remixed them. Made them sound better. In my opinion, it does sound better. I love the mix on Destroyer Resurrected. Let me know in the comments if you disagree with me. This was an album that I wanted so bad as a kid. It's not really an album, it's a box set. Kiss, The Originals. Came out in 1976. Was a repackaging of the first three Kiss albums, which I also have separately as I've showed you. This is the Canadian pressing, which is weird because it's got the interesting gatefold with like a collage of Kiss albums, or Kiss logos rather. So I don't have the original sleeves for the albums. All I have are the albums, and they were done weird in Canada. One of them's blue, one of them's yellow, one of them's red. Not the same as the US release of this album. I don't have the booklet. I don't have the trading cards. I don't have the stickers. I don't have any of the bonuses for that album. Just the records themselves. From 1976, Rock and Roll Over. God, this album is good. This one, see, so this is that same inner label. I'm trying to not get glare on it. The same inner label that they used for that copy of Kiss Alive. This came out in 76 when that centering label became normal. So that one's correct, but Alive shouldn't have been on that one. Love Gun, I have 2 copies of. This one's falling apart. This one's not. This one's in great shape. Love Gun. The last of what a lot of Kiss fans consider to be the classic 6 Kiss albums. After this, Kiss fans tend to be a little weird about which albums they like and which ones they don't. I love the centering label here. Third generation Casablanca, but they've actually superimposed the images of Kiss onto their stock label. It's so awesome. I gotta go quick because it's been 10 minutes apparently. Kiss Alive 2. I also picked this one up fairly recently. I love the Alive series. Is that not the greatest gatefold picture you've ever seen in your whole life? It's awesome. Unfortunately, this one doesn't have that great evolution of Kiss booklet. That would be awesome to have that. This one I bought online. Double platinum. The glare from the Mylar printing on this album will blind you. It's a double album. It's a compilation. The only new recording on it was a re-recording of the song Strutter. In September of 1978, all 4 members of Kiss, each of them released their own solo album. The only one of the 4 I have is Paul. I'd like to have the other ones. I just haven't found them at a good price at record stores yet. Got Paul's face on the center ring label there. They sold so many of these, or they printed so many of these, 1 million for each member, and then they didn't sell very well at all. So these were scattered amongst bargain bins across North America, and this one's no exception. You can tell by the cut corner that in record stores that baby was put in the discount $1 shelf. Dynasty, aka, according to some people, Kisco. Kiss's last album of the 70s. It's the one with I Was Made for Lovin' You on it. Got a pretty cool inner sleeve, though. This one's pretty beat up. It's an original copy, so I wound up buying the 2014 reissue as well. I do like the front cover on it, the close-ups on the faces. The cool thing about this 2014 reissue is that I got the poster. It's huge. It won't even unfold it all the way. It's just enormous. Takes up like my whole room. If I put it up on the wall, it would be the whole wall. It's pretty awesome. Unmasked from 1980. Again, totally a pop record more than a rock album. This is a Dutch import copy from the Netherlands. So it normally would have had, in the US, it would have had its own custom centering label, but for the European copies, they just went with the stock Casablanca label. Music from the Elder. I think I'll do a video at some point just about how incredible and misguided of a concept Music from the Elder was. It was a rock opera. That's right, Kiss made a rock opera. It wasn't very good. Sometimes it'll make lists of worst rock albums of all time. I don't hate it that much. There's songs on it that I like. There really is, but why Kiss decided to make a rock opera album and not include pictures of themselves on the cover and try to be all hip and cool, and I don't know, it's just so not what Kiss was about. It's bizarre that they thought that would be a good idea. But what's more bizarre is that I felt the need to buy 2 copies of it. This, again, very scratched up, old original copy. Brand new 2014 reissue. And like I said, they did the 2014 reissues so well that I just had to. Then, this is egregious. Kiss fans will not like this. I do not have a copy of Killers, Creatures of the Night, or Lick It Up. So the whole Michael James Jackson production era and the whole Vinnie Vincent era, I don't have. It sucks. I just haven't been able to find copies, and I try not to buy albums online just because I enjoy like going through bargain bins and stuff and picking things out more than scrolling through something online and just picking them up that way. It doesn't seem as fun. So we have to skip ahead to Animalize, Canadian pressing of Animalize, the only Kiss album to feature Mark St. John on lead guitar. The Canadian pressing had this cool centering label that the US copy didn't have. And then I got Asylum from 1985. This is Kiss in full glam mode. They've taken off the makeup by this point, but man, they're wearing sequins. This is my least favorite era of Kiss, by the way. The mid-80s. Hair metal period. I'm not a big fan of 80s hair metal as it is. Sort of the pop metal of the mid-80s. I don't understand it. I mean, It's good. They had their hits, but it's not my favorite genre. I like 70s. I guess the precursor to hair metal, like the hair rock of the 70s. I like that for sure. Anyway, then Ace Frehley, after he had broken up with Kiss in 82, founded his own band called Frehley's Comet. Oh, I'm doing this in the wrong order. I have a copy of the first Frehley's Comet album somewhere, but I took it out and I put it somewhere else, so I don't have it for this one, unfortunately. But I do here have Live Plus One, which was a live EP that Frehley's Comet put out in 1988. They put out a couple of cool albums in the late 80s, Frehley's Comet did. And then Kiss put out Hot in the Shade. That's right, the album's called Hot in the Shade, and the front cover is a sphinx wearing sunglasses. I didn't say every move that Kiss made was brilliant. This was the last album to feature Eric Carr on the drums before he died of cancer in 1991. This is an original 1989 pressing. This album is really long. It's got like 16 songs on it, and about 4 or 5 of them are good. One thing, when I was buying these new 2014 reissues, I focused on the 90s, because the 90s Kiss albums are hard to find on vinyl, because by the time the 90s came along, most people had already moved on to CDs. Revenge. This is one of the best Kiss albums of all time. In 1992, Kiss brought on Eric Singer to replace Eric Carr on the drums and just recorded this absolute monster of an album. I love it. It's totally Kiss trying to be grunge, but it actually worked really well. Kiss in the 70s liked to set trends, and in the 80s and 90s they liked to follow them. Sometimes it didn't work, sometimes it did. That album is awesome. And it led to a really amazing live album too, Kiss Alive 3 from 1993, recorded on the tour for that Revenge album. Really cool. This lineup of Kiss, Gene, Paul, Bruce Kulick, and Eric Singer, was a force to be reckoned with, but they weren't financially all that successful. By the time the reunion era came around, Kiss needed to do that because they were pretty strapped for cash, at least I think. MTV Unplugged, sort of the end of the Bruce Kulick, Eric Singer lineup, recorded in August of 1995, not released until 1996. MTV Unplugged, there were a million MTV Unplugged albums by various bands in the 90s. It was a very popular concept and a very popular TV program. So for the reason Kiss was chosen to do an unplugged thing, it doesn't seem like Kiss would play acoustically, was because in 1995 they actually toured the United States doing an acoustic tour, playing convention halls and stuff, and taking requests from the audience. It was an interesting time period. And so for the taping of this one, they had another trick up their sleeve. They brought back original members, Peter Criss and Ace Frehley. They came back and they had a brief reunion with the original lineup, which then became a full-blown reunion in 1996, when the next year Kiss decided to tour with Ace and Peter and put the makeup back on. They did an enormously successful reunion tour and then put out a reunion album, Psycho Circus. And if you're tripped out by what it's doing when I'm moving it, it's because it's got this badass lenticular cover. In 1998, the CD version of this album had the lenticular cover that would do this when you move it, and they decided to use it again when they made the vinyl reissue in 2014. This is the only vinyl album I've ever seen with a lenticular cover like this. It's a very 90s thing, but this is a very 90s album. In theory, this is a reunion album with Ace and Peter, but Ace and Peter were really not all that involved, with the exception of singing like a song each. They didn't contribute a lot to this album. This album's got some good tunes on it, though. Not necessarily my favorite Kiss album, but it ain't bad. And I wish I had a copy of Sonic Boom, because that album means a lot to me. It came out when I was 13. I'd been a Kiss fan for 3 years, and it was their first album in 11 years. So Kid Graham was super stoked for that album. Don't have Sonic Boom, but I do have Monster, which is the most recent Kiss studio album, although it did come out 7 years ago now. It was 2012. I bought this in the record store on the day that it came out. It's a good album. It's not as good as Sonic Boom. I really enjoyed Sonic Boom. This album's alright, though. And that brings us to the end of my Kiss collection. There's a lot of Kiss albums I wish I had. I wish I had the other 3 solo albums. I wish I had Creatures of the Night. I don't have Lick It Up. I don't have Crazy Nights, but that's my least favorite Kiss album, so that one I'm not too worried about. It'd be cool to have a copy of Carnival of Souls. It'd be really cool to have a copy of Sonic Boom. And there's a couple of live albums I'd really like the Millennium Concert. And I'd like to have Kiss Rocks Vegas, which is their latest live release from about 3 years ago that one came out. Yeah, so the compilations I can take or leave. Even in my record collection in general, I'm not as fond of greatest hits compilations. I like to get like the studio albums and the live albums. Those are what I care about. So I thought I'd do a really brief vlog today about my Kiss collection, and instead I made a really, really long vlog about my Kiss collection. I'm not sure how much my regular vlog followers will enjoy this video, but you know, I'll put a bunch of Kiss stuff in the tags. Kiss fans love checking out other people's Kiss collections. I'm always online looking those up, so hopefully you guys got a bit of a kick out of that. Figured why not do it. Tomorrow, getting up early, driving to Deroche, playing the farmer's market, picking up Leenie, going to Whistler. I imagine it'll be a 2-part vlog because we're doing so much stuff. Can't wait. It'll be quite a ride for the last date of the May/June Leenie Bennett Graham Strang tour. Can't wait for that. Yeah, check out the description. Sorry, I got a bit of a cold here. Check out the description for a full list of all the tour dates I have planned. And you can also see where to find my music, where it's sold or streamed online. Subscribe to this channel if you want to get notified whenever I upload a new video, which will be tomorrow and pretty much every day for the foreseeable future. And yeah, like this video if you liked what you see. Thanks for watching my long-winded description of my Kiss vinyl collection. Yeah, catch you again tomorrow. Thanks for watching.